Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan Prince from Calibre Design, and welcome to another episode of Talking Innovation, where we speak with innovative Kiwi business leaders doing some really cool things in industry. Today I'm joined by John Down, Managing Director and owner for ENI Engineering in Christchurch here. And John and I, we actually go way back, as does ENI and Calibre, and even pre-Calibre, to be honest. Mm-hmm. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation, John. I've been trying to get hold of you for ages now, so thanks very much for joining us. So a little bit of background. So John, you founded ENI in 92?
93.
93, yep. There we go. Started out as a small welding op and growing the business into one of Christchurch's probably most established manufacturing and sheet metal businesses, but manufacturing businesses, engineering companies. And so today, you're working across sheet metal fab, precision engineering, contract manufacturing, rapid prototyping, additive manufacturing, and supporting clients across infrastructure, product development, advanced manufacturing, and high-tech sectors as well now, which is, well, you've been doing that for ages, but that's cool. And so today we're going to talk about about your journey. I'm really interested, and building ENI over 30 years now, and I'm keen to understand how the business has evolved from traditional fabrication into a more advanced manufacturing capability, and what it takes to grow, a strong manufacturing, Kiwi manufacturing business with people, community, and innovation at the centre. And I'm really interested to know the challenges and successes you've had along the way. So, welcome, John.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's great to be here. It has been a while trying to get me in the seat, but look forward to just sharing what I know and having a good chat.
Yeah, that sounds great. So, so let's start from the start. And for listeners who haven't come across ENI before, can you give us a quick overview of ENI and what you do today?
Thanks, Jonathan. As you say, we're a 30-year-old contract manufacturing business, sort of heavily around the sheet metals side of work, which is kind of our origins and where we started. But now we're supplying, as you say, precision engineering right across the spectrum of manufacturing within New Zealand, employing 140 staff,
right.
And good fun and growing well and enjoying what we do.
Great. And so your team size, 130, 140 now.
Thereabouts, yes.
So what does it look like in terms of your capability and the types of clients you're working for?
So within our capability, we work a range right across metal manufacturing, including machining, but all sheet metal services that you could think of that are needed, additive manufacturing, right through to mechanical assembly, full product design, as well designed for manufacture. So
right,
and good service centre.
And powder coating as well.
Oh, of course, powder coating. And I guess I think of that as just another service within the sheet metal industry. But you're dead right. Yeah,
very important though, because especially for powder coating, the likes of race wheel mags and stuff.
Anytime you need, John.
Yeah, good on you, mate. That's what I like to hear. You founded ENI in 93, started out as a small welding op. Can you talk us through that early story and how you got started?
I started with a business partner. There were two of us back in 93 that were working for another sheet metal business here in Christchurch, and kind of events unfolded within that business that just made it interested for us to start our own. And so we were keen to give it a go, and kind of decided that neither of us would probably do it on our own, but together we could make this work. So the intention was to start just two of us for a few years, sort of build a bit of work, and but we'd built a bit of a reputation across Christchurch in particular with a number of clients, and before we knew it, work was coming at us faster than we knew what to do with. to the point where we ended up with 9 staff in the first 6 months.
Wow.
And
The
so
first 6 months?
First 6 months. So some very rapid growth.
Wow.
And look, those days were great fun. We worked together, our original business partner and I, for about 10 years. And then he had a change of priority in life. So I bought him out and we've been going strong.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, partnerships. I think, as the saying go, the only ship guaranteed to sink. It's just a matter of how it goes down.
That one went down very, very friendly, still good friends, and so it was very amicable.
And so were you both fitter turners or fitter welders?
Sheet metal workers.
Right.
So,
Okay.
back in the day, it's now called fabrication light. Yeah. But we'd both done sheet metal tradesmen, apprentices and tradesmen. So and just started from that basis.
Right. Yeah, although I'm guessing if you had 9 staff after 6 months, you probably wouldn't have been on the tools for very long yourself, I guess.
In those early days, you kind of had to be on the tools yourself.
Right.
And so all the rest of the business stuff happened at night, weekends.
Yep.
So, you've got to make yourself as productive as you can, particularly in those early days. So, but over the years, it got to the point where we were employing more and more people. Correct. We certainly came off the tools fairly quickly.
Yeah. That's I think that right there is a really, really cool tip for budding business owners. It's a phenomenal thing to do, but once you start a business, there's no such thing as 9 to 5. Just
100%.
Just be aware. We've all been there.
Absolutely.
You're working all the way through, most nights, all night. But anyway.
Yes, we all start with the ambition of freedom. And I guess it comes at a style, but there's a lot of commitment that goes in that's necessary to get the growth and the establishment that you need.
It sure is. Yeah. Okay. So you've grown a number of different directions over the years, from sheet metal fab through to contract manufacturing and additive manufacturing. So how do you describe that journey? Like how?
Oh, look, it's been really interesting because we didn't, like lots of really good journeys. You don't quite know where the end is as you're going. And so you make it up a bit as you go.
Yep.
And a lot of it's just been about opportunity, both in terms of clients' demands, but mostly about people and skills. And so as we've seen those come along, and we've been able to develop the business accordingly.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So have you got you can think of any specific examples where you've gone, actually, we've got this guy here, or this new engineer, this lady, or whatever, and he's got all these skills. She's got all these. Sorry,
he or she. Yes.
got all these skills. Let's try this.
Yeah, and look, to be fair, the additive manufacturing was part of that. So we always knew that would be part of our journey eventually. But we came across someone who was pretty passionate about that, and that became the right time and moment for us to go ahead and do something.
Right.
So
interesting.
It's a good example.
Yeah, that's great. We'll talk about that actually.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
We've got some questions about that later on. So,
sure.
So what have you been some of your key turning points in ENI's growth, and how do they come about?
That's another really cool question. And so I think the key turning points have always been about people.
Yeah.
And the examples of additive manufacturing, getting the right people on the bus, and then deciding where you go is a key Jim Collins principle. And so we've certainly followed that. But at a higher level, it's been around governance, getting the right people on the board who have been able to open our thinking beyond being a jobbing shop into being a manufacturer. And so that's been one of the most significant changes that we've had over the years. And it's being open to what you don't know. So, we come in with these things that we think we've got it all sorted, but there's a lot we don't know. And so getting people around us that know things that are different.
Right. Yeah. And when your business partner left, was that a change up for you, or did you kick into another gear, or did you change direction, or is it just kind of a business as
It
usual?
was more morphed, really. So we just continued on. We were going in a great direction, and life was good. We were getting a lot of work. And it wasn't that he was holding us back or anything like that. He was adding really good value, but it was just time for him to do something different.
Right.
And so we were able to, I guess I was able to start to think about the sort of people I wanted around the table, leadership team and then and management. And although I didn't get it all right, there were some tough times as we tried and got it wrong. But as we got on a bit more, that's where the significant growth has come from.
Were there any particular clients that actually changed your direction, that all of a sudden you're like here, and then they're going, actually, you've done a really good job with this. Could you do that and that and that as well?
Probably the biggest significant client that changed was one of the design engineers here in Christchurch who was prototyping bus shelters back in the mid-90s. And we'd been going about 3 years, and we were asked to prototype their design of a bus shelter for the Christchurch City Council. And that has shaped the business very significantly over the last almost 30 years now. So,
Right.
yeah.
And it's still going?
Still going.
Right.
We're still making bus shelters across both Christchurch but right across New Zealand.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That would have been, and how did that come about? Just
It was a relationship. And like most things in business, it's about the relationship. It's who you have worked with in the past, and how you have solved their problems, and then able to build on that relationship.
Yeah. Well, that's very cool. And I am kind of a firm believer in this. Who you know, not what you know. But you do have to have both. But it is amazing when you get the relationships right, what just kind of falls out.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw that I was almost going to say it's who you know, but I thought, well, no, because it's way more about what you know.
Yeah.
But it is about relationships.
Yeah,
so,
it's having those doors open in the first place.
Yeah.
Cool. So what? Yes. So you've gone through all this change. What do you actually think are some of the biggest constants that you've managed to keep hold of through that change?
People, culture, values, they've been the biggest consistency for us. Mm-hmm. We have really looked after our people. We know who we are, what matters to us, what are the values that we want to be known for and respect. And so we have worked really hard to protect those across the business. Now, and when I talk about people, that's not just staff. That's the way we treat our suppliers, but also how we interact with our customers. And so, it was 33 years ago, but I started the business with a statement that this would always be about relationships.
Cool.
And so we have worked very, very hard to honour and respect the relationships that we have and to grow from those.
Yeah. I can't say I'm surprised to hear that at all. I look at our relationship over the years and the interactions, and, ENI's always, and yourself have always been fantastic to deal with and really easy to deal with, and enjoy that relationship.
And that's one of the key values, is that we are easy to deal with, and it comes out of just respecting people.
Right. Nice.
Yeah,
and
cool.
What else, while we're on values, what else have you got?
One of our key values, well, we got a few values, 6 in total, but being better every day is just absolute fundamental. And it kind of starts way back 30 odd years ago when we talked about everybody goes home better every day. So it was our influence on the people at work that we work with, and how do we make sure that they go home better every day.
Right.
And we've kind of expanded on that, so that better every day is just continuous improvement, and we want to always be better as well. So,
I like that. Yeah, like continuous improvement. I mean, everyone wants that, but it's like it's a buzzword now. But better every day. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's easy for us all just to own it and know that that's what we want to be. And so it's a phrase that's used every day at work. Yeah.
Nice. What do you think are ENI's biggest differentiators in the market? Because there's a few sheet metal companies out there, and manufacturing companies and contract manufacturers. So what do you think really sets you apart?
that's a question that you really should be asking everybody else rather than asking me, because
True.
it's hard to sit in the seat and look and know what it is that differentiates us. But honestly, I think it comes back to the how we treat people, and particularly when it comes to customers, what sets us apart is that we value the relationships, and I know every business says that, but we like to think that we just go that extra mile that's required. And I think that's what sets us apart. All of us can cut metal, bend metal, weld metal, do whatever's required, and powder coat. I guess we are a one-stop shop. Doesn't necessarily completely set us apart, but then there's the attitude of innovation and, how do we make this easy and easy for the client. I think they're the things that set us apart. But like I say, better to ask others.
How do you think the business and growing ENI has shaped you personally as a person?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's been such a long part of my life. It's I've been in the industry all of my life, and it's who I am. So I don't know who I would be without it. But that as an employer, you learn to understand people. And I think if I was to think about anything that shaped me the most, it's just working with such a diverse group of people over a long time, and how we get to work well together. So I think that's probably the part that shaped me the most. And
it's very, very, very interesting. As a follow up to that, how do you think you were when you first got into business? I've known you for many years, but you've always been a really, really good guy, really easy to deal with all the way through. Have you always been that, or have there been some real tough lessons on the way through?
Oh, definitely. So maturity helps, and so we learn from mistakes and the way we've done things in the past. And am I proud of the way I've treated had every interaction with people? No, I'm not. There's a whole bunch that I look back at and think I could have done that better.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. So, there'll be a few people nodding with me saying that too.
That's right. Yep. So, definitely have been able to put a lot more into practice as I've got older. Still don't always get it right, but it is a case of owning it when you get it wrong.
Very cool. Yeah. And looking back over the last 30 years, what makes you the most proud?
Well, proud is a word that I struggle with, but it is the development of the young people and because it's a bit of a blokey place, the young guys, but it's not always just the guys. But over the 30 years, we've had lots that have come to us straight from school that are now in very senior positions in the business and in the industry around New Zealand, and so that's what I would be most proud of. And just being a part of their journey, giving them opportunities, believing in them, sometimes when nobody else did, including themselves.
Right.
So
that's pretty cool.
Them grow. That gives me lots of pleasure.
Oh, very, very good to hear. That's a cool thing. All right. I mean, mind you got to be pretty proud about where ENI is.
Yeah, absolutely. And very pleased with how the business has developed over the years, and its contribution into the manufacturing space in New Zealand. And our desire to raise manufacturing as a viable industry in New Zealand, and beyond that of just our primary sector. And so high complex, clever manufacturing, and what we've been able to do to contribute to that has been very, very cool.
That's great. And that's actually a great segue into what I want to talk about next. ENI has built some awesome capability, and across, again, I'll just name it: sheet metal, precision engineering, contract manufacturing, rapid prototyping, and additive. So how do you decide which new capabilities to invest in? How have you done that over the years?
Often it's about trying to understand what the clients want and where they're going and what are the industries that we want to expand into. When it comes to additive, we've kind of always known that if you're going to be a serious manufacturer long term, you're going to have to be involved in additive manufacturing one way or another.
Yep.
So that was kind of just a given part of the development of manufacturing as an industry. But the rest is listening to clients. What do they want? What do they expect from us? What is it that we need to control in the supply chain to be able to deliver well to our clients? And so recently we've just got into machining centres and lathes, and that was on the back of just needing to get shorter lead times, clients wanting a full service package. And so we went, well, we don't have a choice. We need to get into this.
Right. Has there been any times where where clients asked you for something and you've actually gone, no, actually, we don't want to go that way because of X, Y, and Z?
Look, that's a good question, but nothing I can think of, to be fair. We're up for anything.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah. It was a number of years ago that we had a client that needed rotor-molded product. And so we just said, look, let's go and do it. And so bought the service for a little while, understood what it meant and what it needed, and then we went, no, let's control this as well. So we got on and did that ourselves. I can't think of anything that we've gone, no, we don't want to do that.
All right. Yeah, because that's quite a change. Think about sheet metal through to roto moulding. It's a bit of a black art too, roto moulding, and so to jump across to that, it's quite it's quite a sidestep.
Yeah, look, I can think of one. We did have a client who was looking for a full product developed that involved vacuum formed plastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we went, no, that's one step too far.
Right.
So and there was such good vacuum formers around Christchurch, so we just partnered with others.
Right.
So it is important to be careful that you stick to what it is that you're good at, and not necessarily just go off and develop any kind of product or process that you want.
Yes. No, I'm hearing that. So it might be interesting now. Cause are there any vac formers even left in Christchurch now? Talbots, are they still doing vac forming?
I don't think they do much. I think Award do a little bit. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yep.
But no, most of the really good ones have moved on or sold up. So,
yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
Might have, it'll be interesting if that ever got revisited, how you'd handle that.
Well, that's dead right. Yeah.
Talk us a little bit. So you moved into additive, and you've actually segued into the next question actually pretty well. So, how does additive manufacturing fit alongside ENI's more traditional capability?
Yeah. So part of it was about, we knew that additive would be part of our future. And so that we were going to have to be in additive if we wanted to be a serious manufacturer. And I think over time we won't be defining additive as different to traditional. It'll just be manufacturing, and it'll be another service within manufacturing. For us, understanding it and knowing it was key. We kind of waited for 5 to 10 years before, or 5 years plus, before we really understood what additive manufacturing was well enough to be able to integrate it into our business. But from us, we are 3D printing products that we are taking to market. We are 3D printing tools and fixtures that are improving processes.
Right.
So additive, and we're selling it as a service to others. So it's got a great part to play in the future of ENI.
How do you currently go about deciding whether you're going to do something in additive manufacturing or stick with your traditional methodology?
Look, that's a good question that probably needs to be answered by those technically more advanced than I am. So
right.
It is fair to say that I've looked at this as the business leader, gone, yeah, look, this really does need to be part of our future. I haven't invested my time into understanding all the technicalities of it, and have employed good people around that space. But there are clear places where we can see it replacing tools and fixtures that just make such good sense. And an example of a tool that we 3D printed would have taken over 10 to 12 days to get organised through a machine shop. Once upon a time, we can have it on the machine within 36 hours from concept. So that ability to turn around quick and fast makes 3D printing very, very important to us.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Would you think? Do you see more value in that jigs and fixtures space as opposed to the client product space, or?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's a good service to provide because it's not, like we're a bit of a print farm now. And so it's a great service. It gets us known amongst other clients, which is a good thing. But its value internally is very significant. And so we are able to improve processes very quickly and makes us much more able to react to the needs of clients.
I don't know if you remember the last time I was in at ENI. You made mention of the fact that having the additive there actually opened doors to some other clients.
Correct.
And I thought that was really interesting comment they, as I understand it, they looked at all the others and said, "Oh, you do all this as well," and it opened the door to a whole lot of more work in the traditional manufacturing.
And that's very true. There was, it's a great industry to be in because a lot of the customers are very loyal to their supply chain, and trying to get into or to trying to attract some new clients into our business was difficult. Additive manufacturing has done that very well for us because it is new, it is different. And so when we say, look, do you want to come down and see our sheet metal shop? They go, no, we've seen plenty of sheet metal shops. Yeah. But when we talk about additive manufacturing, they're very keen to come in. And that has certainly opened the doors and the eyes of others as to what we're capable of.
Do clients, usually come to you knowing what processes they need, or do you help them work that out?
And there's a bit of both and. So a lot of our clients are technically based, so they will understand the processes that we're going through and needing to do for their product. But there are others that just come and say, well, this is what I want, and can you produce it? And so at that point, we're taking them right through the process, right from design for manufacture. But I think that in most cases, there's always a little bit that we can add. And so because we're, every business is a bit unique, and so how we process things and our equipment, our tooling, our machinery makes a bit of a difference. So there's always some learnings and teaching, I think.
Yeah, if I think about caliber engineers, we've got some really experienced guys, but then we've got some younger guys as well. And I know that there may be some times where they're thinking, what would be the best methodology here? And it's always good to...
Absolutely, yep. And so our account managers, who are essentially our sales guys, are very well skilled across the processes that we do, so we can take any of those clients or engineers through the processes.
So what does rapid prototyping change for clients trying to develop or improve a product, do you think?
It's always about speed to market, isn't it? And failing fast. And so clients want to get on, and, whenever we've got an idea and a process in mind, we just want it done as quickly as we can. Yeah. That's a natural human nature. So, getting it through to product development as quickly as possible is always well appreciated. And I think that failing fast is a key part of that as well, because let's move on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'm willing to bet that gives them an opportunity to try stuff early and quickly. And
absolutely. So iterations are always important to any design, and so you never get it quite right the first time. So moving our way through it and giving, again, the additive manufacturing space is absolutely key to that. So being able to give a quick example or sample of what someone's trying to design, even if it's not the end product, it makes a difference to be quick. Yeah.
And have you had clients come along saying, "Oh, I want to make this and make it like that," and you said, "Well, listen, how about we whip it up in an RP process or additive manufacturing, and we'll see how it works," and then
absolutely, and within the manufacturing environment, we're all learn and understand by being able to pick up something and see it and feel it and work our way through how it works. And so getting a product to market quickly through additive makes a big difference. We've seen a number of clients gone, okay, that wasn't quite what I thought or how it was going to work.
Yeah,
Let's
great.
change that.
Yeah.
So
you picked up work through having this capability.
100%.
And so what does that say about the standard of manufacturing now possible in New Zealand?
it's expanding all the time. We're able to do work that's way more technical and complex, and I'm not sure how well that's understood. But as we get out and tell the story, places like in industries like the aerospace and the defence industry are starting to understand what we're capable of in New Zealand.
Right.
And there's some really good companies around New Zealand that are able to do this sort of work. But quite proud of our success in the aerospace industry and picking up some really good metal work as well as additive manufacturing.
Is that expanding to international markets as well?
Some early conversations, nothing concrete yet, but we are forever hopeful.
Right.
So,
yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, cross fingers.
Absolutely.
Really hoping that pans out because certainly the volumes offshore compared to New Zealand they just ramp.
Enormous. And look, we've had conversations recently about the New Zealand's ability to supply complex metalwork in particular that we've heard quickly is appreciated overseas. And so
Right.
there are opportunities potentially out of the US where we're being compared and saying that we are favourable, particularly in terms of lead times.
Yeah, right. Great. I'm sure the New Zealand dollar right now is...
It's helping.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool. So on to making things in NZ.
Yep.
You can make it, anything from individual sheet metal components through to complete products. So what does it take to move from manufacturing parts to a full contract manufacturer? And talk me a little bit through a little bit about your journey there.
Yeah, good. And look, it's been an interesting part of our journey is that I made the comment that we were a couple of sheet metal tradesmen that started the business, and so we were very, very much a jobbing mentality. Although we were building some volume and repetitive work, we still kind of managed it as a couple of tradies. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of the people I put around me in those early days were tradesmen, and so we had this jobbing shop mentality. And it wasn't until we started to realise that actually we needed to be a manufacturing business, not necessarily an engineering business, that we started to change how we saw complex products and components and getting repeatability and service that met what the manufacturing industry was expecting.
Right. And have you got any products that you can, over the years that you can...
Probably not so much
through?
Products, but in terms of services and attitudes and systems. So, tradies are not great at systems. And so, we like the innovation, the difference, the moving from one thing to another. But in a manufacturing, we want things as stable as possible. And so it's probably the biggest change in the business is the people I've employed that are able to help build nice, complex, but stable systems.
Right.
Because it's not my forte, not my skill set.
Can you think of a particular product when they came to you and you're like, oh, jeepers, that's way outside, and you pulled it off and that you were particularly proud about? Yeah,
look, for those that have been through ENI, most will have seen our bottle crushers. We built a bottle crusher for a company in Marlborough, several thousand of them over the last 10 odd years. But that was a product that came to us from a very clever designer who had built a dozen or so, but had made them in his garage and all were a bit inconsistent, but had a need for spare parts. And so he selected us to be able to design it for manufacture get it consistent. And look, to be fair, when I first saw it, I thought, I'm not so sure how good we'll be at this. But we knew that we had to change our style of thinking to be able to be successful at it. And so we sort of got some people around us that helped us with that. And 2,000 plus bottle crushers later, we're building parts that spare parts will go into any one of those machines.
And to that note, where do you think ENI adds the most value to your clients, through that process?
It is in our ability to go yes, and then how.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Wondering what does the end result look like, and how can we help the client get there the easiest, the best, the most successful. Right. So, and then just being innovative on our way through that. So I think, I'm not sure I'm answering the question particularly well, Jonathan.
Oh,
but,
if you think about that bottle, Chris, for example,
yep.
Guy, one-man band,
yep.
Doing stuff out of his garage, nothing's consistent and all the rest of it. I'm sure you guys came along and said, well, actually, you could make it like that, but how about this and this and this?
Agreed. And look, so in that case, a lot of it was around the process of making it and making sure that there were jigs and fixtures that ensured on consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So we could see it was a product that had a really long future.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool little wee piece of equipment.
Yep.
But and you can't change how you're making it halfway through. That gives you a change in the outcome. So designing it and designing it for manufacture, and then working our way through exactly how we could do this consistently well has been the change, and particularly for that client. Yeah.
Now you do a lot of work for the telcos.
Well, I have done over the years, a bit less these days. But
okay.
That we did a large number of ultra-fast broadband cabinets back in the original rollout of UFB in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And they were a complex cabinet as well. That also had a high requirement for consistency. So again, bringing in that systems and processes that just made sure we delivered what the client wanted through the entirety of the life cycle of the product.
How important do you think it is to bring in manufacturing knowledge into a project early?
Very.
And this is for the engineers out there, including the caliber ones.
Good call. Excellent. And look, the manufacturing knowledge is critical, but specifically select a supplier early, because we all do things a little bit different. Mm-hmm. And so if you can select a supplier, bring them into the project early, you'll be able to design efficiencies into the product through the design phase. Too often we go, once we've been given a final design, if we just made that measurement 3 millimetre bigger, then it would have gone through that machine faster rather than this machine. And so it's just little wee tweaks that can take lots of dollars out of a product as you design for manufacture.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point. I think it's something that I labour a lot to, in the design process.
Yep.
That your design team doesn't just consist of your engineers. It's hard and fair customers. It's key suppliers and bringing
Absolutely.
them in. How do you find that goes in terms of being involved in the design process early on, and then not necessarily getting the work and stuff like that? How do you try and secure that work, or do your best to?
We always live in hope, don't we, that what's designed in New Zealand will stay in New Zealand.
Mm.
So we do a lot of work at the beginning of a project to try and understand the values of the product owner.
Mm-hmm.
Are they committed to the New Zealand industry? Do they want to continue to support being made in New Zealand, or is this something where they'll be looking for the cheapest product ultimately? And then we will adjust our thinking and our process accordingly.
Yeah.
So if it's about being designed in New Zealand, we'll put a lot of effort and time and energy, cost into getting it right for here. If it is about just prototype it so I can take it to an Asian lower cost manufacturer, then we'll do as we're asked and prototype it and price it accordingly.
Yeah, right. Yeah. it's a tricky one, that one.
Yep.
You know, as an engineer myself, you know, I've often had those times where you're trying to keep it in New Zealand and trying to make the pricing work and all the rest of it.
And I think the key is keeping in New Zealand what should be kept in New Zealand. And there are some products and some high volume work which makes some sense to be in a lower cost environment. But a lot of what we do that ends up going offshore could well stay in New Zealand. And I believe competitively, particularly as we've moved through automation and robotics, etc., in the New Zealand manufacturing scene.
That's it's a really interesting point. Are you finding that more product is coming back, manufacturing opportunities are coming back to New Zealand?
Well, I guess what we're finding firstly at the moment is there's more discussion about product coming back. We're seeing a little bit, but there's lots and lots of conversations from clients about they've had work, metalwork in particular, being done in Southeast Asia that they want to bring back to New Zealand. And a lot of that's about volume, supply chain challenges, and just getting lower manufacturing volumes down so that they are not having to stock so much.
Okay. Yeah. Have you seen a change since COVID at all?
We ran quite a campaign over COVID. We called it Bring It Home. And so we really, because we thought that there would be a bigger resistance to continuing to bring offshore because of transport issues and supply chain issues. Didn't see quite so much actually eventuate from that. Started a lot of good conversations. But and then it kind of went quiet for a few years, but it feels like those conversations have picked up again. Maybe it's every time the world goes into another level of crisis. But So,
as we're currently seeing.
Absolutely.
We've talked about a couple of them, but can you think of any other projects where you've made a major difference, to the outcome? I seem to remember a telco one, but I can't remember.
Yeah, look, that was that ultra fast broadband cabinet. So we. It was a little cabinet set on the side of the road. Most areas outside of Christchurch around New Zealand have them with a radiused front door. And so designed by a product designer for very easy access for the service people, where it had a radius door so they could get good access to all of the little cables that come out of the ground. Yep. But a door that also popped off, so it got out of the way. Now building anything with a radius in a high consistent method in New Zealand is fairly difficult. And with the sort of technology and the automation that is not available for that sort of radius product, but we managed to prove a way to do that. Worked with the client very well in terms of how do we get cost out of that product, and became competitive with the Chinese alternative.
Okay.
So, and again, it was another one. We did some 3,000 or 4,000 of these cabinets where every door would fit on any other cabinet. So, so very quite proud of that one as well.
What do you wish more product companies understood about manufacturing?
Our capability and our capacity. Yes. So both of those things. There's a lot of automation in the New Zealand manufacturing space that makes us as competitive as any low-cost country. And there's if you've got a product that's got some reasonable volume and some technical demands, then we should be able to do that in New Zealand. We know of instances where New Zealand wasn't even considered of product for the manufacture of good New Zealand designed product. It's immediately gone off to a low cost country. And as I've asked more questions about that, part of it was about capability. But the worst part for me was that the capacity wasn't understood. They thought that their volumes would outstrip anything that we could do in New Zealand. But actually, there's a lot of latent capacity in the New Zealand manufacturing space. And there's lots of good people that are prepared to invest in that. So we can grow that as necessary.
It's it's an interesting point to know because to that note, do you think sometimes? So there's obviously not the knowledge there that you need. So do you think that sometimes New Zealand manufacturers might undersell our capability?
100%.
Right.
We're shocking at it.
Yeah.
We just think that we quietly get on and do what we do. We're not very good at talking about it, at highlighting it. A lot of respect for organisations like Hamilton Jet now that are really shouting it from the rooftops and the clever stuff that we can do in New Zealand. And we as an industry need to do much more of that.
Right.
Yeah, agreed. Probably why you ended up twisting my arm to come onto the podcast.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Yeah, no, we should be proud of who we are, what we achieve, what we do, and I guess as a nature, we're just a bit quiet, and don't sing about it, and we should.
So, what do you think we can do about that?
Look, I think it goes from school kids, teachers, right through to government ministers. The recognition of the complex manufacturing environment in New Zealand isn't given by anybody unless you're kind of in it. And so if we could recognise the impact on GDP, 12,500 people that it employs, we work through all of that and sort of sing that from the rooftops, get way more interest in the industry. I think we can do much better.
Right. There you go. There's a challenge to all the manufacturers out there to get together and work out how we how we have a collaborative voice.
Yes. And there's organisations, Make NZ, but Advanced Manufacturing, Aotearoa, doing a good job. And certainly you sense a change happening. And I think, next generation are really going to start seeing that change come through. Some good voices out there, including yours.
Cheers. But you're right. The likes of Make NZ, they're really good, really good organisations, and spend a lot of time, trying to get that knowledge out there.
Absolutely.
So, people, culture, and community. We've talked a lot about that. So you put a lot of emphasis on your people. What does that mean for inside your business? How does that play out?
Absolutely. We put a lot of emphasis into our people, and it is a people-first organisation. Families matter. Little things like, you hear the traditional old comment of just leave your problems at home. When you come to work, just leave them at home. As an organisation, we don't subscribe to that. We're employing the person in their entirety, and so we want the best for them, and so seeing them go home better every day is a part of their entire life, what's going on for them. It comes down to training, development, opportunities, all of those things that just grow us as people. It's a strong values base where we talk about above the line and below the line behaviours. What is it that we'll put up with, and what is it that we won't? And being really clear about that, and each holding others account. So, just the people. Nothing else matters.
No. And you said that the key to ENI's success is fostering and building each other up to better people. What does that look like day to day? And if you can think of specifics.
And it's not easy on a day-to-day basis because there's the demands of a highly vibrant, demanding industry that, there's things going on with 140 odd people every day. And so, and conflicts happen, but it's just not accepting it and making sure that we treat each other with respect, and calling behaviour out quickly. And so those are the things that I think we've worked really hard on over the years to make sure that we've got the right values and culture in the business that works well for us.
And have you seen a shift? Do you, you talk about above the line and below the line. I do. I'm a big fan of that comment and that thinking too. Ownership, accountability, and responsibility versus blame, excuses, and denial.
Yep.
For those of you that haven't heard the above and below the line,
That's right.
With pushing those values, do you see a really good change in people when you start talking through those things?
Probably the once we started talking about the strategies around what behaviours we'll accept and what we won't, it became fairly quickly became that the workmates were holding each other accountable, and so we weren't having to step in as senior managers or managers in the business to solve every bit of a problem, and that things were nipped in the bud pretty quickly. And so often we'll hear about them sometime later, and something that could have become quite an issue has often been resolved on the shop floor or in the office or wherever necessary very quickly and easily.
So you've got a very, very diverse team with many nationalities. How has that shaped the business?
We love the diversity and inclusion that we've really valued in the business. It is right from our founding days. So my original partner was a native-born Samoan guy, so we came from two very different cultures to start with. And I think that made us much stronger, but we also appreciated that our differences were different, but we worked really well together because of that.
Right.
And so as we've grown, and there's so many different cultures, we've often thought we should count them, but it's a large number. But it definitely makes us a stronger organisation for that.
Very cool. If I think about the nationalities that have gone through Calibre, it's amazing. Yeah, all over.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. How do you build a strong culture in a manufacturing environment where people are really working always under that constant pressure to deliver, which is what you're referring to before?
Yeah, absolutely, and it does have to come from the top and from the senior leaders in the business, where how we make people feel and how we treat is paramount. Still got to get the job done, and so there's a lot of having to encourage and supply help and provide support where necessary. But it does come from the senior leadership in the business and knowing what it is that they've got to do to help and assist and grow. And
you've been involved with Living Springs Trust for a long time, including chairman of the board. And for the listeners that don't know, Living Springs provides outdoor education and camp-based experiences for children and young people, schools, churches, community groups, and businesses. I myself have been to Living Springs several times, back from my Cubs days and Scouts and all the rest of it. It's setting I think it's got a special relationship as an organisation within Canterbury, and it's also setting us in a really special part of Canterbury. What was your connection there, and what drew you to that work?
It's a great organisation to have been involved with for a very, very long time. So, to your question, what was the initial connection? Well, it was kind of a legacy connection. So my mum and dad were part of the founding families. So we go back to 1972, I think.
Right.
One maybe.
Yeah.
As a family, and so been involved in kind of the development and journey of the organisation for all of those years, 50 odd plus.
Yeah.
And it was a big part of my childhood, which is just such a cool place over there in Governor's Bay. It's on a beautiful bit of land, and just so much adventure and stuff to do. So, but sort of come a mid-20s, life carried on for me, and there was family and other stuff, so I didn't have too much connection with Living Springs, although my parents, mum and dad, stayed as trustees and founders and stuff. But 20 odd years ago, I was asked to get involved just to help it through a bit of a patch.
Right.
And we did that, and it's been a great journey. It's a great organisation. It's kind of like a rite of passage for Christchurch kids.
It is, yes.
Canterbury kids.
I agree, yeah.
Yep.
My daughters have gone through it, both
Yep.
of them, done
Yep.
several camps there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, I can't remember the numbers now. I'm not involved in the detail like I was, but some 75,000 meals prepared every year.
Wow.
Which is pretty amazing. 12,500 or 13,000 campers go through the place every year. So
Wow.
it's a significant contribution into the Christchurch community, and now with a strong bent towards eco-sanctuary and protecting the environment and building a place for regeneration and
Very cool.
that stuff. So no, it's cool. It's great part of our legacy as a family.
Yeah, so it's amazing. And I don't know if you remember, my wife even
Yes.
worked in Sonia in marketing there. which-
And I'm sure without realising who you were at the time, I think we probably met back in those days.
We did,
A long time ago.
Do you see a link between the way you lead ENI and the work Living Springs does with young people?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, both are very values-based organisations, although in completely different industries. But both value the people in the organisation as well as the people that come through it. So, I think we've, with a few others, that's been the contribution that I've had into the Living Springs space, is that bring it where people just really matter. And a concentration on what your client requires and needs. And so different clients, different expectations, but every organisation needs to build towards that. Yeah. So,
Do you think it was a chicken and egg scenario, but do you think was Living Springs formed that thinking for you, or was it the other way around, or a bit of both? Or
look, you'd have to say a bit of both. Yeah. Definitely, I've learnt stuff through the manufacturing environment, and then different things through the service industry, if you like, which Living Springs is really part of. And so, I think that they have contributed to each other.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And how do you think about ENI's role as a responsible corporate citizen?
We often talk about our world. And we do it in such a way that it can be from a personal level right through to a global level. But there's not too much we can influence globally, and that goes to the whole emissions conversation that happens in New Zealand regularly. But we can have a big impact on our very local community. And when we talk about our world, it can be the world of one of the staff members, a supplier, or our own general community of Canterbury or New Zealand or whatever that works like. So, we're always wanting to leave the place better than we found it. And do we always get it right? Probably not, but it is a constant conversation.
On to business challenges. So what have been some of the biggest business challenges ENI has faced over the last 3 decades?
3 decades. Probably the biggest challenge that the business has had is kind of understanding that as the founder owner, I was the ceiling on the business, and so it could only ever grow as much as my capacity to grow, and then a degree of underestimating what it is that we did. And so I often thought if I could do this, then there's lots of people that could do it way better than me.
Right.
And so our biggest challenge was that when this would have to be close to 20 years ago, wanted to step back, put a general manager in, highly successful manufacturing manager in Christchurch, but in our environment just didn't work. And so that was a massive lesson for us. It took us backwards 2 or 3 years to recover.
Gee, that's interesting.
Yeah, in a fairly short period of time. So having the right people with the right skills and the right values in those that leadership role was probably the biggest lesson that I had through then. But realising that actually, if I'm the ceiling on the business, then it's about my growth and the other people I can put around me that grows the capability of the business.
Nice.
Yeah.
And were there any moments where you wondered whether the business was going to get through?
That was probably the only time would have been that same time. Like I say, it took us 2 or 3 years to recover from a very, very traumatic sort of manager that was in the place that destroyed culture.
And had you stepped back from the business?
I had,
yes.
yeah.
So you
and all of a bit too soon. So, yeah, there were a lot of lessons through that period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
How did the Christchurch earthquakes and the rebuild, how did that affect ENI?
In terms of close effect, probably not enormously. We were very lucky being out sort of southwest. The earthquakes had minimal immediate impact on the business itself. We were down for 3 days while we got some engineering checked. And when you think about so many other businesses across Canterbury that were so poor or so badly affected, we were in a very fortunate position and felt for a lot of those that were affected way worse than us. Staff-wise, a lot of our staff were kind of affected at a minor level as well, a few that were out of their homes. But the team rallied around and worked well there. But in terms of business opportunities, we kept waiting for those opportunities to come through, and they were hard to find. And so we actually grew the business with the expectation that there would be a lot of work for local businesses in the construction space, but we found that that didn't really eventuate at the same level as we expected. However, there were some really cool projects that we managed to get ourselves involved in that gave us great profile. And they were really good for the business.
Okay.
And so Margaret Mayhew Playground, we did all the non-playground metalwork there.
Right.
It's just the coolest of things in Christchurch to be involved in post-earthquakes.
Yeah,
so,
right.
And look, the rebuild of the city, we've done a large percentage of all the street side furniture. Right across the CBD.
Right.
And so that's given us some good work right across the last sort of 8 to 10 years as that's all been being built.
That's definitely a positive.
Absolutely.
How's lean manufacturing influenced your growth? Have you adopted the principles actively, or how have you gone?
So adopted the principles, yes. Actively, at one point, and that was probably way back at that 20 years ago when I put a different manager into the business, we really went on a strong journey of lean to the point of trying to apply just the principles without any real thinking about how they should fit into our organisation, and that came at a cost to us. So we were a bit burnt. And so we've then gone, well, there is a lot of good stuff in lean, so what do we grab and hang on to, and how do we leverage off of that? So we do a lot of work with very fast tool changeover, and so the equipment that we buy, we make sure has very fast tool change systems and processes around it. We do a batch size of 1 where the client requires that, and it works in the client's best interest to do batch size of 1. And so we've got a few clients with some reasonably complex metalwork that we completely build one set of metalwork for them. Whereas, the traditional way of building the stuff would be in volume components. We'll build a complete unit one-off.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you definitely need quick tool changing.
Absolutely. And so that's probably been the biggest. We're a clean and tidy-ish workshop. Could always be a bit better. And so
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And most people that come through call it a compliment on it. Yeah. But we know that we could do the 5S space better, and we're kind of working through that area now, trying to clean the place up and tidy it up. And look, it's about efficiency and just getting through things. We've spent a lot of time talking about waste and what is waste, and how do we eliminate as much waste as possible. So we've got quite a lot of knowledge. Are we a lean workshop? Probably not. Not in terms of how it's thought about overseas, but we take the principles that work for the New Zealand environment and apply them as best we can.
What have you learned the hard way as a business owner?
Too much.
Yeah.
And I've spent a lot of time through here in our discussions, Jonathan, talking about people. But there's a lot of the people stuff that I've learnt the hard way, where we haven't got it right. And realising how important efficiency is through the factory as well. So it's easy to have some fun, do some cool stuff without looking to do it as efficiently as possible, and the impact that has on the business. And so I've had to force myself into really concentrating on getting things as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't go that way, cash becomes a problem, and so life can become hard. So yeah, those things are definitely areas of learning the hard way. Yeah.
Anything around any equipment you bought that never panned out the way you wanted it, or buildings, or relocations? And
actually, buildings and relocations have gone pretty well. We've only 33 years. We've only moved twice. So
Right.
we've done very well. 2 lease buildings, and now we're in a owner-occupier space. And we've managed those quite well and quite good. So that's been fun. With the equipment, early in the days, you buy what you can afford, and you assume that it is well tested and trialled. And all of the safety equipment has been put on the machine as it should be. And you ask all the right questions and you pay the money, but dollars are a bit tight, and so you buy something slightly cheaper, and then it comes along and it didn't have the safety features on it that we anticipated. And so that was really frustrating. And so, it just caused us no end of grief. So it was a folding machine, a press brake, that soon became an anchor. But you make these decisions at the time based on the information you've got, the time pressure you're under. But look, mostly the equipment that we've managed to buy, we've done it very thoughtfully, very carefully. Trips into Germany to see the machinery working and look at what it's doing. So we've done those things pretty well. And quite pleased with how that's come about.
Right, very good. That'd make a big anchor, actually.
Absolutely. It wasn't much good for anything else.
If you were setting up ENI again today, is there anything that you would do differently?
I would invest in me from a commercial space sooner and earlier.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So from a capable people starting a business in an industry that they know, that's all okay. But what I didn't know about business, being commercial, employment law, all of those things, learned some of that a bit the hard way. Probably not too many scars, but things I know I could have done different and better. So I think I would have invested in myself earlier. And so don't think that if you're a good welder and you want to grow a business, that it's just as easy as that.
No.
It is all about how you operate in the business world, which is a bit different.
On that note, actually, what advice would you give to other New Zealand manufacturing businesses trying to grow without losing their culture?
Protect your culture at all things. So we've had a few times where we have grown fast. In our early days, we were 100% growth year on year for about 3 years, and it was too fast, and we took some time. We took some shots at our culture, and it wasn't pleasant, and we were growing in spite of people. We settled that down once we realised it, and then reinvested in the culture and the people and grow. So I would protect my people and my values and my culture at all cost.
Right.
But actually, people want opportunity and they want growth, and so you still need to have an aspiration to want to grow, so you can develop your good people.
Yes.
So don't be afraid of growth.
No. I totally agree. It's something that we've, it's always been a constant challenge for Calibre too. As the ideals of the senior leadership team and the owners, values and ideals that you want to maintain those, and it's as the new leadership comes through, it's making sure that they're bought into that and understand it and live it.
Absolutely.
And there has to be even some revisit from my perspective, revisit of that, so that they're part of the forming of those values as well.
Absolutely, forming and improving. So agreed. But not detracting from them.
That's right.
That can happen way too easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. So the future. On to the future. I've got a couple more questions and then we're through. But where do you see ENI heading over the next 5 years?
We've got a fantastic foundation now to really grow from. And we've grown quite considerably in the last couple of years. And some of that's been through acquisition. But the opportunities in the industry are significant. There are some... particularly through Australia. And so our ability to be competitive over there is very cool. Exchange rate's helping, of course, but and New Zealanders have a great reputation in Australia as a reliable, cost-effective manufacturer. So onwards and upwards, we just will continue to grow as we see the opportunities there, there's a lot more in the industry we can do. We want to be more vertically integrated, adding further services to what we do will be key and cool. We don't hold us back.
Do you see yourself setting up in Australia, or are you thinking, or even sales in Australia, or how would you approach that?
I think there will be a footprint in Australia at some point, or a representation in Australia at some point. Not sure it'll go as far as a setup in Australia. I think our competitive advantage is being here. So our lower cost manufacturing base makes sense. The freight across the ditch is frustrating at times, but it's not insurmountable. And look, we can regularly compete with Australian manufacturers in terms of delivery, and still have 3 or 4 weeks on the water and get
still
product.
compete.
Still compete.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
What capabilities are you most interested in developing further?
I talk about that vertical supply chain. So I think, we obviously build lots of metal stuff, but they're usually the housing for something a bit more clever. So whether it's a electrical fit out or further testing, calibration, that sort of work. So I can see us getting more involved in that vertical integration in the supply chain, which will make sense. Give more value to the clients. And good opportunity in that space for us.
What do you think will separate successful New Zealand manufacturers from the rest over the next, say, decade?
It's an ability to experiment, be innovative, but to back yourself as well. So actually get out there and give it a go. Be prepared to say yes and then work out how. And training and looking after your people. So attracting good people and good skilled people. There's some really good people coming out of their tertiary educations that are starting to show an interest in manufacturing, providing opportunity for those people. That's going to separate those that are really successful from others.
It'll be interesting to see with we haven't touched on AI at all, but I'm very interested to see what that means for the profession, for the hands-on manufacturing professions. It
has to make some processes much simpler and easier, data more available, but look, I don't understand enough of where it can go. We have, I would imagine there's an AI conversation every day at work. Because, you know, what can it do? How do we leverage it? But yeah, understanding its capability is just phenomenal.
Yes. Yeah, I was actually thinking more along the lines of people choosing profession. You know, like people have moved away from the manufacturing and from from the trades. But I think we're going to see a sharp shift back, which could be interesting.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's going to get. It's difficult for AI to weld a couple of pieces of metal together.
Yeah,
it's going to need that person there.
Yeah,
it might make it simpler. Might make the inspection process faster. But I think there's still a person on the end of the welder.
And what role do you think companies like ENI can play in helping New Zealand engineering and manufacturing punch above its weight?
Just displaying what it is that we're capable of, some of the cool projects we're in. So we were recently at MX, and our entire purpose of being at MX is just displaying the New Zealand, an example of some New Zealand manufacturing. So we've got to be part of the story, I say. We're not great at telling it, but celebrate our successes and just show others what can happen in New Zealand, and make it an attractive industry to be in.
Yeah, it'll be Again, we come back to that AI conversation. I think there's a huge opportunity there.
I agree.
And it'll be very interesting to see what the outcomes are in terms of the opportunity for young people in the actual manufacturing and their willingness to move into that manufacturing sector.
Absolutely.
Back to the manufacturing sector.
Correct. We've grown our manufacturing sector based on lots of school leavers that haven't necessarily been that successful at school, and they become very, very good and talented in manufacturing. But I think there is going to be a new place for those that come out of tertiary education that have a degree of understanding of the technology and the what might be with AI. So it'll be both.
After more than 30 years in business, what still motivates you?
Being better every day and looking at how we do things differently, how we look after our people, what else is there for growth, what opportunities we're providing. Look, I should probably be slowing down, but I'm having way too much fun. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening in the industry.
Great.
And just enjoying being part of it. And I guess I'm fortunate enough now to have some really good people around that take care of the business.
Yep.
Giving me the opportunity to see what else it is that we can be doing.
Right. Yes. Very cool. And what's the one piece of advice you wish someone had given you when you were starting out in business?
If I'd learnt earlier how to treat people well and get the best out of them, that would have been the best. So I talked about relationships right on our very first day. But at that point, I was probably thinking more about the clients than I was anybody else. But taking that across our staff and our people, there were some things I could have done way better in the early days.
Right.
So if that was a bit of advice, that would have been helpful.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
When you look at ENI today, what makes you think, yes, this is what we were trying to build?
Yeah, the growth of the people, the guys that came to us leaving school who are now production managers, who are design engineers, right across the board, and we've got them at all stages of the business. And so that is when I look back and I go, though I probably didn't quite know that was what motivated me 33 years ago, I soon learnt that was, and the last 15 or 20 years, it's been a real pleasure to watch the growth.
Nice.
So it's been very cool.
Yes. Yep. Okay, well that ends our interview. Thanks very much, John. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you finally finding time to come and sit down and have a chat. I think I really hope that the listeners will find that really valuable. We'll look forward to catching up soon.
Thanks, Jonathan. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and talk. It's been fun.